Hello, everyone. I'm here with my good friend and student, Michaila Franklin. We are going to talk about some finances today. We're going to talk about how you can build credit. We're going to talk about how you can take your financial situation from a state of lack to abundance with just some very simple tools. Now, I want to talk to you, Michaila, and talk to you all today about how I started my day off today. And it's pretty indicative of where I am financially. I know a lot of people in our society today get pretty upset about the rich because they feel separated and disconnected from the rich. And there is a pretty big vibrational difference between, the rich and the poor. There's a big lifestyle difference between the rich and the poor. But the things that separate us are pretty small. Now, I'm not a billionaire. I'm not even a millionaire. But I'm well on my way to being a millionaire. And I have the stage set for me to inevitably, eventually become a multi-billionaire. I'm not saying that this video alone will get you to billionaire status, but it most certainly will bring you to millionaire status pretty easily and effectively over a period of time. I read this book once called The Millionaire Next Door. I forget the author. It's a pretty powerful book. And it's mostly just a compilation of United States data of people with money. And you might be surprised to know that all of the, when the time this book was published, early 2000s or something like that, when this book was published, all of the millionaires, the majority of people who were wealthy in this country were not like rock stars and, super powerful business people and celebrities or, entrepreneurs or tech billionaires or anything like that. Those were a small minority of the rich people. Most millionaires in this country got there through prudence. I'm going to say this again. Most millionaires in the United States of America got there through prudence, meaning they were disciplined about their dollars every day for years and years and years and years. They had a simple plan. They worked it. They brought it to a space of having a lot of money. They weren't extravagant spenders, but they had a great deal of wealth. They stayed well within their means, and they had a very specific plan for growing their wealth and money. Now, many of them were business owners, but you see many people like this who are accountants. There was a story of the 93-year-old woman who lived in a one-bedroom apartment in New York and died. She was an accountant and left $13 million to the New York Public Libraries. And she was just smart with her money. The only thing separating the rich and the poor is information. And Michaila, she's not poor, but she's a great example of what most people, in society today are struggling with. And she's got a full-time job, and she doesn't have very high expenses as far as I'm aware yet. We'll look at those in detail. But she struggles to keep money around, and it's simply, as far as I'm aware, and most likely due to discipline and planning. But I'm going to teach you how the rich think. And I'm going to teach you in this video how to become rich. Now, what I'm not going to teach you in this video is what your career should be and how to pursue that career with passion. That's Life Purpose Class, and you can see that at lifepurposeclass.com. What I haven't done in Life Purpose Class is do a financial, workshop of how to manage your finances and budgeting. I know that's very common, a very available tool. I don't think it's ever been taught in this way. I certainly haven't taught it, but the information I'm about to share with you is not anything special, not anything new, not anything groundbreaking. It's just basic budgeting and financial discipline, and this has been around for thousands of years. But I personally have done a lot of research on this. I have unique experiences on this. I can share my own unique perspective and take on it, and I think that'll be fun, for this community and this channel, and I think this will be fun for Michaila and I to do as well. So I'm going to tell you about my day and what my current life situation is, and then Michaila, if you'd like, maybe you can tell me about your day and your current life situation relating to finances, and we can point out what the difference is and get you on a path to where I am and far beyond. Does that sound good to you? Okay, I'm just going to click your face right now. Okay, I'm going to click me again because I'm telling my story. So this morning I woke up in a $11,000 bed with $350 pair of sheets. And it was really cozy and warm in my house. My house is quiet and big in an upper middle class neighborhood. I do rent it. It's filled with some things which are very expensive and very luxurious. Like, my bed is not a billionaire's bed, but it's certainly an upper middle class bed. They call it a sleep appliance. Most people don't spend that kind of money on their bed. I can control it with an app. I can control how firm or soft it is. I can control whether it blows hot air or cold air on me. It's even got a nice little electric foot warmer. It can, move like this and into different sleeping or reading or watching TV or whatever kind of positions, independently of my wife. I have my own bathroom, independent of my wife, with 2 sinks. It is decorated for me. I have a very nice $200 electric toothbrush. I've got all the products in my bathroom to take care of myself, and I do. I went to Tim Hortons for breakfast this morning, picked up a coffee and a couple breakfast sandwiches, just so I could drive my Corvette, because it was a sunny day and the roads were dry and clear. I spent $70 this month on insurance for my Corvette that I would not have spent had I garaged it, so meaning I can't drive it for the winter. And I did it just for a day like today, where it was clear and sunny in the late fall and winter, where I could drive it and I wouldn't mess with my vet. I could drive my Corvette on the roads, in the wintertime. Many people do here, but I'm not that person. I want to take exquisite care of my Corvette, and I can afford to do that. I lease a Porsche Cayenne. It's a $100,000 vehicle. It's half electric, half gas. I have nice cars. My Corvette is not it's brand new, custom built, and it costs us $140,000 ultimately, loan and everything. I came home, I ate my breakfast with my wife, had a relaxing morning, and here I am, sitting down with Michaila. We're going to New York City for a vacation, and we didn't really have to worry about how much it would cost. Now, we're not staying in super luxury hotels. We're going to do a few more luxurious things, see a show on Broadway, eat a Michelin-starred at a Michelin-starred restaurant, but we're very comfortable with that. So this is my life. I live this every day. This is not, this lifestyle is new to me. Excuse me, but I've always known how to do money and finance. I grew up. My grandfather came from Greece as an immigrant. Came from Greece as an immigrant, and he was, not rich at all. He was poor, came with nothing. I had connections and family here, but got his start, and basically was just a factory worker, and had a few small businesses here and there, and died a multimillionaire. Not because he had a spectacular income, but like the people in the book that I mentioned, The Millionaire Next Door, he was prudent and saved his money in a disciplined way his entire life. So this information about money and thinking about money is nothing new to me. I have been thinking about this my entire life. I've always decided to be rich. I was not rich until recently, but most of that time was spent in investing into my life purpose and finding all the information that I teach about today. But from here on out, it's a steady upward trend of my wealth, not just my income, but my wealth, my real wealth that I get to enjoy and appreciate for all the days of my life. This piece of information I'm just highlighting right here is the difference between where I believe Michaila is based on what she said to me, and where I am, and where Michaila is where most people are. Where I am is where very few people in the world are, but the thing separating us is a very tiny piece of information, and I'll make sure everyone has it today. So, Michaila, can you tell me about what your day was like financially, or what your life is like financially?
Yeah. Right now, I actually don't have any money right now, so I
Mm-hmm.
woke up this morning with like, my sheets are like $10 bed sheets from Walmart, But yeah, I just woke up. Like, actually, when you had messaged me earlier, I was on my way to the bank, and I was going to like see about like getting a loan or something. So it was like really good timing. But yeah, I just woke up, didn't really have any money to spend. So I was kind of planning my day around what I could do to, avoid spending money. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I mean, it was just, I just spent most of the day at home,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to go to the bank, and then I didn't actually go into the bank because I came back here to work on like my finance stuff, but it, definitely wasn't like your day.
Mm-hmm. What's your typical day like? On a weekday, what do you do? What is your financial world like?
So I drive to work. I have kind of a long drive to work, so I spend a lot of money on gas a month, and I try and like bring lunch to work so I don't have to spend money on food.
Smart,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I guess my day's kind of built around spending as little money as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It gets kind of exhausting because you're always like in that mindset where you don't have enough, and it feels
Mm-hmm.
bad to spend money.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess it's just spending as little as possible, and
Mm-hmm.
then just like getting through the day and working to
Yeah.
make money.
So what kind of car do you drive?
It's a Subaru 2001 Subaru Outback.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I got it on Craigslist. It has like some dents in it, but it was hard to price it. But I mean, it's a decent car.
Mm-hmm. How much did you spend on that car?
It was 2,900.
2,900 you got. How many miles did it have on it?
Like 100,000, a little over.
You got a pretty good deal on a pretty good car. As long as it's mechanically sound and gets you back and forth to work, yeah, that's not. You're doing good as far as the car realm. Not the most, extraordinary car, but, that's the kind of car. I wanted that car. A Subaru Outback. I drove that car at one point, a Subaru Outback. It was a wonderful car. And so, where do you live right now?
I live with my grandma,
Hmm.
and I pay a little bit of rent, not too much. Like it's like 120 a month.
So it's a sweetheart deal. Grandma's loving you, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. And how much do you earn a week, or on your paycheck, or a month at your job?
Well, it kind of because I work a sales job, but I went through. It's like it goes between like 500 to 900.
500 to 900 a week,
Oh, well, not per week. That's every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And do you have pay stubs where you can show what you actually make?
I have pay stubs. I don't have access to them at the moment. I have to go into work and actually have them printed off.
Okay. So do you know? So you said between 5 and 900. Why the grand difference?
Well, it depends on my bonus, and if I don't make like the full 40 hours a week, I don't make a bonus, so I'll get kind of cuts my paycheck.
Okay. And so why wouldn't you get 40 hours in a week?
Well, I don't know. I work really early, and I drive, and I drive kind of far, so sometimes it's like a little hard to get to work on time. Or if I go over on like my break time, it cuts out of my hours. So
Okay. So 900 is what you should be making if you don't like miss hours.
hmm yeah,
That's not like a performance bonus.
no, it's not performance bonus. Well, I
Okay.
mean, it is, but I have really good numbers, so
Okay, so your numbers are steady, but your problem here is that you're not making it to work on time, and you're not returning from your breaks at the appropriate time.
hmm
And so your workplace burns your check in half for that.
definitely.
So you're losing $400 for a few minutes of break, and maybe 20, 30 minutes, it sounds like, for not showing up to work on time. Okay. So there is a quick way to nearly double your income. And there are tons of these little sucker bets that the world puts out to take your money from you. These little things that they'll screw poor people over and keep you poor. Right here is a perfect example. Check cashing or pay cash advance is another way to screw you over. Lottery, all these little things exist in society to trip you up and take your money. And you need to be disciplined to not let that happen to you. So let me ask you, Michaila, it feels pretty good to take a little bit of an extra break, doesn't it? Yeah, that's why you do it. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Feels pretty good sometimes to not worry about when you make it in to work, whether it's on time or a little late, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are luxuries.
Yeah.
Those luxuries cost you half of your paycheck.
Yeah.
So are we talking 500 to 900 cash, or that's what you take home?
That's what I take home, yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And then at the end of the year, do you usually get a tax refund?
Yeah, I do. I've only worked here for a year, so I'm not sure.
Okay. So you'll get a nice little tax refund to help you out. You've got $0 in your bank account?
Right. I have 8 cents in my bank
8
account.
cents. Okay, so we're not over. Do you have any credit cards or any lines of credit?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. And how much do you owe on your car?
I owe like $795.
Okay, so I'm going to write some of these figures down.
Okay.
$795 owed on car. So what we're going to do right now, Michaila, is we're going to get a picture of your finances. Your income, your expenses, your debts, savings, which is non-existent, assets, any assets you have. We're going to get a whole picture of your financial life, and we're going to walk through how to have a really healthy, financial life. Does that sound good to you? Okay, sounds good to me. So do you have any other loans or debts?
No, that's it.
No loans or debts outstanding. You said how much is it for rent?
It's like $120 a month.
Is it like, or is it $120 a month? So when you're talking about your finances, you want to be very clear on what it is. Is it like? It's like means there could be a great variance here. It is means there's a clear agreement, and that's what it is.
Well, the agreement is $100 a month, but I give her the extra 20.
Why?
So pretty much, well, because sometimes she loan me money and, she buys. So
Sometimes she loans you money and she does buy you food. Mm-hmm. So you pay $20 for food a month?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so your food is covered.
Yeah. Well, some of it. I mean, it's kind of like I buy my own food, but she also does like a lot of grocery shopping. So I usually just give her like that extra 20 per month, just with the amount of money that I give her for like a car payment, because she helps me pay for my car too.
Okay, so how much is your car payment?
$200 a month.
Okay. So grandma is really supporting and helping you. Yeah, this is the deals that grandma is providing for you are not like financially savvy deals. They're not deals where grandma's making money. These deals that grandma is presenting to you, that she's giving to you, she's offering to you is grandma loves you and she wants you to grow in responsibility, but she's subsidizing most of the costs of things. She doesn't charge you interest on the car payment, I imagine?
They actually took a bunch of it off because it was my birthday.
So grandma also reduced the debt on your car because of your birthday. So you got $800 that you owe left, and that means in 4 months you'll have your car paid off. Car paid off in 4 months. And any of you who are watching, this is a great time to get out your financial data, write everything down, pause the video, go through everything, and I'll make sure that there's as I'm drawing this information out of Michaila in a way that emotionally feels good for her and for me, I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to organize it in a way that makes sense, and I should be able to show it to you here, what I have written down, and you can follow along. So, and all we're doing is finding income and expenses and debts. Um, so we've got your rent payment, we've got your baseline food payment, we've got your car payment, we've got what you owe on the car. So I see monthly expenses of $320 so far. What other monthly expenses do you have?
So I have total. I do a Planet Fitness membership. I've got Spotify.
Okay, hold on. Gym, and do you use this membership?
Um, I haven't recently.
Haven't recently. How long has it been since you used the gym?
Probably like a month,
Oh, a month. Okay. And how long have you had the membership?
like 3 months.
3 months, and you used it for the first two?
Yeah,
Okay. And is there an obligation to remain with it?
it's a 12-month commitment.
Okay, so you're committed to it. What is the cost of that?
$23.73.
$23.73. Okay. And then what was the other thing you had said?
Spotify,
Spotify. And how much is that?
$10 a month.
$10 a month flat, or is it $9.99?
No, it's $9.99. Yeah.
Okay, you're giving me cents before. Don't deviate from that model.
Okay.
Every cent counts when you're doing accounting. So what you're trying to do is round, and when you're saying like $120, you want to be very clear. And this is what feels so uncomfortable in your finances, is when you're not specifically clear where you can get clarity, you're sacrificing your overall clarity. Now, there are places in our finances, inevitably, where we're not going to have clarity. And, when we're setting a budget up, we don't want to sacrifice clarity where we can, so that we can manage the lack of clarity or the risk that we're unaware of as of yet. So clarity is very important. So Spotify, what other expenses do you have monthly?
I have my rent, car payment, Amazon Prime,
Prime, how much is that per month?
$13.66.
And it lets you play it monthly?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
And then I have TFAS, which is $199.
TFAS, $199. Okay.
Then Life Purpose class subscription, which is $159.
$159. Okay.
And then the All Classes Pass.
All classes pass, which is $111. Is there anything else?
I have my phone bill.
Phone?
$50.
How much is it?
50.
50 exactly?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so it must be another grandma deal?
No, it's with Metro PCS.
Oh, they're just $50 flat.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. What else?
And then insurance for my car, which is $109.
109 exactly?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Are there any other monthly expenses that you have?
That's everything with the car payment.
Okay, and did you add all those up exactly?
Yeah, I got $995.39.
$995.39. So if you miss, how much time can you miss at work before your 40 hours and $900 paycheck goes away and it turns into a $500 paycheck?
I can miss 2 hours, so it has to be 38 minimum.
Okay, 38 minimum. And they give you 40?
What do you mean?
They let you work 40?
Oh, yeah. They let you work 40.
Do they let you work any more than 40?
They do, yeah. They actually encourage it.
How much more than 40 can you work?
Pretty much, I think, I don't know exactly how much it is, but they're pretty generous with overtime.
They let you work overtime?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's called free money in the working world. In a job, it's called free money, and we'll talk about that soon. So I'm just going to trust your $995.39 here. It's ballpark enough for us to run figures. So what I see is between a $500 to $900 income, which is between $1,000 to $1,800. And I see $1,000 in expenses. So if you miss 2 hours of going to work, then you don't have any money.
Yeah.
You literally break even. This doesn't include anything else that you want to buy. Buy a CD? Nope. You're screwed.
Yeah.
You want to, buy a pack of gum? Well, there's your $4.50 or so extra money. All the money is gone. So you can either take 2 hours off, per week and have no money, or you can work 2 extra hours with a little bit of discipline there and have, $800 a month.
Yeah.
What would $800 a month do for your life right now?
Quite a bit. It's a big difference. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Your workplace is pointing to something and offering you something, just like grandma is. Grandma is supporting you into being able to work and provide a living for yourself. Your work is supporting you in being able to work. If you want to have wealth, if you want to have this part of your, and this is like a huge foundation of life. Like, we can't go out and hunt our own food anymore, or like just decide that this is our land and grow food on it, and decide that this is our tree and chop it down, or we can't just look around our natural environment anymore and gather materials that we need by hand. This is a rock, I'm going to turn this into an axe, and now I have tools and I put that here. It doesn't work like that anymore. And some part of our brains are primarily programmed to act like that and think like that, but that's not our reality anymore. We need to adapt and evolve beyond looking around and saying, oh, berries, right? On some level, we're still programmed for that, and we need to evolve that programming if we want to live in today's world. Now, in the old world, a storm could kill you. Today, we're sitting behind our roofs and we're sitting, back having a little cup of tea, enjoying that same storm. Or it's a really bad winter storm, and maybe you don't have that in New Mexico. We have it here. We're sipping on some coffee and looking at that. Oh, look at that snow pile up. That could have killed you, a few hundred years ago in this country. Or a few thousand years ago, or several thousand years ago on this planet. It's not the same world. And so we need to adapt our minds to evolve them to today's society. Today's society is far easier, far juicier, far more profitable than any time in history. Because all we have to do is serve. And even though we may have some psychological blocks to working, this is really easy. Michaila, this is going to be so easy and so profitable for you. So let's look at why you are late to work, and let's get you $800 a month right now. Does that sound good to you? Because you're $5 from you're making $5 a month. You're so pushed up on the line. I imagine you don't often make $900 in 2 weeks, do you? No. When was the last time you did?
It was November 2nd.
November, and so that was last month.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start making $900 plus every single month in cash profit, and then when your tax refund comes in, you're gonna have a tax refund sometime around April, probably, depending on when your forms come in from your job and when the refund comes through, and then also you're looking at having your car paid off, so that's another $200 a month that you're gonna have. When does your all classes pass and LPC? When are those finished?
LPC should be in March, so pretty soon.
March, okay.
All classes passed. I just subscribed last month. So.
Okay, so you got a little while. So come March and April, you got about 3 months here. You're gonna have $159 from LPC that you're gonna keep now, and then your car is $200, so you're gonna have $359 that you're gonna keep every single month. So that's another $1,200, $1,250 or so, that you'll be able to have cash.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about how to invest that in a little bit. Excuse me. So is it worth a couple extra hours of your time every week to go to work and get that extra money?
Oh yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, so it feels better for you to have $900 than it does for you to a couple hours a week be able to kind of slough off at work. Yeah. So you got a little bit of discipline right there, right?
Yeah.
Big financial return. So right now you're navigating traps in society. Your company's laughing at your immaturity and they are taking your money. But they're not laughing when they pay you the full amount. They're respecting you. It's a big difference. Which would you rather have? Be laughed at or be respected?
Be respected.
And you can feel that in your paycheck. Whether or not the people around your workplace look around respecting you, you can feel that financially from your workplace. They respect you versus they disrespect you. Because $250 take home after 38 hours of work a week for 2 weeks, for 38 hours of work, hold on. 250 over, I mean, you're essentially making $7, $6.58 an hour cash in the first circumstance.
Yeah.
Versus $4.50 over 40, it's $11.25 an hour, which is almost double.
Yeah.
Neither of those are the most enticing wages in the world, but it's a start in life. And if you want to ever evolve beyond this point, a little discipline is required. And then you're going to find that discipline, it doesn't cost you all that much. It's a challenge, but you can move through that little trap. The little trap's taking half your money away. Yeah. And I know I'm really driving this point home because this fucks the poor and it makes you poor. Now, I take these little traps for granted because I avoid them like the plague. Let me give you another example of a trap I avoided and made a bunch of money doing it. Credit cards tend to be like very expensive money. And if you borrow any money, it costs you money in general. If you keep your money sitting somewhere, inflation will burn your money away slowly. So money has a time value. If you're not doing something with it, you're losing it. And this is a little bit higher, level of finance that you don't have to worry about so much right now. But I need to explain this so I can explain what a trap at my level is like. Bought my bed, $10,000, $11,000, put it on a credit card. Not because I couldn't afford it, but because they offered this special credit card with 0% interest for like 4 years. 0% interest to me is called free money, called it costs less and builds my credit. And I was like, give me the credit card. Now I've got good enough credit that I could do something like this. However, the credit card is a trap because if you miss one payment, if you're late one day on one payment in 4 years, they're going to charge you all of the interest for the entire purchase. Bam! It's going to be like, $4 grand, $4 or $5 grand extra money that I'm going to pay. And I'm going to save, a few $100. And I didn't have to pay for the money right now, which was also extra capital for me. So I have the discipline that I know this is a sucker's bet for me. And they know it's a sucker's bet for them because they did the math. They're like, 1 in X number of customers is going to get fucked by us. So we can offer all these other customers this crazy incentive and partner with this business. Our credit card expands. They win, I win, and the poor person loses. Now, this is how our society is often set up. And this is why people get mad at the rich people, me, because I have financial sense and the people without financial sense are paying for my free incentives. The poor person is not paying for the free incentives. The poor person is simply willing to get screwed by the business who offers the incentive. There's no reason for you to get screwed, for you to be that 1 in 50 people that pays for everyone else's bills, which is exactly what you're doing right now in not showing up to work for 2 hours a week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, I know I've said this several times. I'm going to say it again. Don't get fucked. Is that absolutely clear?
Yeah.
So this is one core lesson, and you can all write this down, anyone who's watching this, taking this little mini workshop. Don't get fucked. Michaila, you are getting fucked by your work right now. by not showing up for 2 extra hours. That is abundantly clear.
Yeah.
So the first step in change is you got to get clear on something, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're abundantly clear that you're getting fucked here. Yep. And you don't want to get fucked. And you want an extra, $900 a month in money. Maybe we can work some more. I'll show you how in a little bit. Instantly more money. And we're looking at the bigger picture here of your finances, and you're going to have a bunch more money come March and April, and a nice little nest egg probably from taxes. So that feels good. So right now you're on a clear path to having actual financial abundance and wealth. Yeah. How would it feel to have a couple grand sitting in your bank account for emergencies? You don't have to go to grandma if your car breaks down, and increase the loan and keep being there.
That felt great.
So you don't go out spending a bunch of shit on clothes. You're not partying with your girlfriends every weekend, spending $500 at the club.
No, I mean, I have been buying more clothes just because I've been going to New York and I don't have super warm clothes, but I try and keep the spending down,
So you're not, the financial leak is not, I'm going out and partying and spending all my money. The financial leak is, I'm not showing up for work for a few hours and I'm losing half of my money. So you're going to show up for 38 hours to work anyway.
Yeah.
Or so. What hours did you work in the last paycheck, or the last week or so? How many hours?
The last week, I was late probably just under 2 hours, and then the week before that, I made my full 40 hours. But it happens often where I'll be at $37.99.
Lame, yeah, which is impossible to accept.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's actually resolve the problem. Sound good to you?
Yes.
Okay, so why are you late for work?
Well, I don't know, it's really hard to be there for me. I really just don't like working there.
I don't like working there. Yeah, no one likes working at a shitty job. Yeah. The difference between the rich person and the poor person is they'll resent their workplace. The poor person is resentful to their job because it sucks. Everyone, including the rich person, agrees the job fucking sucks. No one in their right mind will go to a shitty job and be like, this is great. Everyone knows it fucking sucks. There's complete consensus between the rich and the poor here. Every rich person will tell you flipping burgers, entry-level jobs, whatever it may be, they suck. And the bosses know they suck. And the managers know it sucks. No one would tell you otherwise. Unless they're lying to you or they're talking about some other piece of it. It sucks. We can all just accept that. It's not going to not suck. You're not going to spin it to not suck. Sucks. Period. But let me talk about something that sucks even more. Living under a bridge in a cardboard box. Begging everyone you know for money until they won't give it to you anymore. Not having any respect in society and in the world. Not being able to feed yourself consistently. Not being able to have reliable transportation or communication. Not being able to take care of your health properly. Not being able to do what you want in the world because you're always surviving on the edge of existence and subsistence, living in a shelter. Which would you prefer, that life or the life where you have to go to a job that sucks?
Definitely the job that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. There's no doubt about that. But there's something below it that sucks even worse. You don't have to remain in the job forever, and I'm going to show you the way out. The way out is not resenting your employer. Resenting your employer is really fucking you. It's your resentment that causes you to not show up on time. Here's the secret that the rich know, or those who are becoming rich know. that the poor do not. That your job is an opportunity to greater success. And that you are always working for yourself. I'm just going to let that one sink in for a minute. You're always working for yourself. Even though you're working at whatever crappy job. You go to the crappy job. But you're working for number one. Yourself. Even though they pay you and all your effort goes into their company, you're always working for number one. Yourself. Because you're always working for yourself, you can always give it 100%. Yes, there's a partnership with a crappy company who's massively taking advantage of your labor. But you must transcend it. And there's only one way to transcend it, and it's through it. You will never get through it if you're not doing more than the minimum. Doing the minimum keeps you there forever. They won't fire you, but you will never advance vibrationally or within the company beyond your shitty position. It is not fair. You're right. And your fellow employees who bitch about it around the water cooler are right. And that's why it feels so good. It's not fair. The companies are taking advantage of us. Our managers don't care about us. The bosses don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Absolutely true. But it doesn't matter to you. And it's not what matters to your wealth. Being rich does not mean you have to abuse yourself or kiss ass. Being rich means you need to look beyond the shitty stuff of the day and look to a brighter future for yourself. And that's what we're doing here today. How does that sound to you, Michaila?
That sounds really good.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry if I've been looking at Michaila the entire time and not clicking on my face. I'm used to doing sessions, so I apologize. It's been on Michaila most of the time. It's probably going to be like that for a little while because we don't have not wonderful camera person Shalia here, but I'll try to remember my best. Okay. So if I'm talking, I click me. If I'm not asking Michaila a question, I click her. Camera basics. Okay, so shitty employer we accept. But we do not accept that as our permanent fate. We move on from shitty employer. And we move on from shitty employer by making them very rich. We make them very rich by doing our best, by working our asses off, by giving it all we got, by making our bosses very happy. Not by giving the minimum. When we give the minimum, we stay poor. When we give our best increases, and the universe supports us in doing more. It's clear in your life you want to do more. You want to do better for yourself. That's where all your investments are. And you're supported by grandma. You're supported in life to do that, to better yourself. But these little sneaky steps need to be taken. And they'll trip you up. And they're so small and menial. But the poor grasp them like they are their sword of liberation, when they're actually their sword of damnation. Someone's bitching about the company, move on. Yeah. People are talking about how shitty this is, talk about something else. Your relationships are based on bitching, get new relationships. Place boundaries on those people. I had a shitty cubicle job where I sold keywords, and I sold my ass off for $35,000 in a year. Worked my tail. And I know they were making fucking bank off me. They loved me there. You know, I transcended that. Here I am today. I'm 30 years old. I I drive a Z06 Corvette and a brand new Porsche Cayenne. Both of them are brand new. In an upper middle class house. And my neighbors, who are all in their 40s and 50s with kids and careers that have matured, and they're looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? They're like, he got some inheritance or something. I'm like, no. I just know how to work. I'm just like you, but I work. I worked in a different way. And that's what I'm sharing with you today, Michaila, as well. More of that in Life Purpose class, which Michaila is subscribed to very intelligently. Okay, so let's talk again about why you're not showing up for work on time. So why don't you make it to work on time?
Yeah, well, aside from not liking it, I just feel like I feel kind of trapped there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't think. Yeah, they don't really care about the employees.
They don't care about you.
So and we get like super minimum break and lunchtime, and it's just like takes up most of my life right now. Like 40 hours. Well, it's like 48.5-hour days, and then it's like a 45-minute drive to work, and then it's already dark. So I don't know. Right. I guess if
it's a soul-sucking job, and you don't like it, and that's why you don't show up on time.
Yes. Very
clear, and most employers know that, but they'll never tell you that, and they'll never tell you that they know, but they tolerate it anyway because they know it's a soul-sucking job. You have a soul-sucking minimum wage job that kills you and doesn't pay you anything. And you barely live. But it's better than, the streets, which is the alternative. But the other alternative is $900 a month extra cash, which is pretty cool. Cool. That's good. Okay. So, doing some thinking. Let's ask, are you really trapped there? Yes or no, and why?
I'm not trapped there because I'm like actively working on transcending that job all the time. I just realized that I needed like discipline, make some steps. But,
so you're not trapped there because you're working on transcending it. How are you going to transcend it? Yeah. This is perfect spiritual wisdom. So mastering it means getting that $900 a month extra every month. Is that right?
Yeah.
So being trapped there is what's causing you to stay there and not make money and not show up on time. So if you show up on time, you're going to be able to... Sorry about my weird camera work, guys. If you feel trapped there, you're going to stay trapped there. But if you decide to transcend it, you're going to show up to work on time.
Yeah.
Cool. So, tell me, are there any other reasons you don't show up to work on time?
Well, I mean, like I do a lot of inner work at work, and I'm always getting triggered at work, so it's also really emotionally. Like, not even related to the job, but just for other reasons, it's a little rough to be there sometimes.
Well, that's a lie. It's rough to be there all the time anyway, regardless of whether you're doing spiritual work.
That's true. Yeah.
And probably your spiritual work is what lets you stay there at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. It's the only reason why I wouldn't show up to work.
So you gotta have discipline enough to stay the course. So there's discipline, and there's focus, there's motivation, there's willingness, there's drive, and there's all the things that pull you away from that. Like, I hate my job. I'm trapped. It's not fair. The bosses hate me. All of these weigh you down. And they weigh against discipline, focus, motivation, commitment, drive. And so what we want to do is work on continuing to cultivate all these wonderful things and get rid of these heavy things. These heavy things are the easiest thing to do. You get rid of them. This grows naturally and automatically. This festers, and once you get clear, only clarity is required, and these things start to be a weight lifted off. They're immediate. It's just a little bit of awareness. And that's why this video is so valuable, this little workshop. So valuable. Because it's going to clear your vibration of all this shit. So this feels a whole lot more suddenly. This is what we hear in life purpose class all the time. Oh, you're a TFS. Oh my God, I had all this money come in. My life is so much better. All I did was watch TFS. All I did was watch LPC. All I did was subscribe, and I feel so much better. It's because you decided to love your life instead of hang on to this insidious shit that says, I hate the world, I hate my life, I hate my job, fuck it all. Well, you're right. It all sucks. You're not wrong in any way. But you need to navigate this so you're not putting your attention towards the darkness and the crippling weight of shit, and point your life toward the life, the growing. Fear versus love, right? Very basic spiritual principles. Okay. So, is there any other reason you don't show up to work on time or stay at work?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. How would it feel for you right now for the next 6 months to show up to work on time every single day and make sure you get at least 40 hours of work in every week? What would that feel like to you?
That actually feels good. Yeah, like I made a new choice, like vibrationally better.
Feels better now. Okay. Now, let's 6 weeks down the road. You've been doing it every day. We were disciplined about it. Let's imagine you 6 weeks down the road. Are you sick of it yet? Or does it feel better?
Feels better.
Okay. Does anything about that feel bad still?
No.
No. So it feels fabulous to you to show up to work like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your breaks. How long are your breaks, and what's your break situation?
Well, we get 15-minute paid breaks, but it's just ridiculous because it takes us like forever to get out to the break area. Like it's a long walk, so we get to sit for like 8 minutes and do whatever, and then have to go right back in. So it's definitely not enough time.
So you get an 8-minute break and a 7-minute walk.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And is that walk restful and healthy and invigorating on some level?
Yeah, I guess it is better than sitting.
So you are getting a 15-minute break.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't get to choose for all 15 minutes. You only get to choose for half of that break. Okay. So that's not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad.
All you've done is look at it clearly, look at the truth clearly. And yeah, like we're not denying anywhere the truth. Sucks to go lose half of your break. It's supposed to be 15 minutes for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's 8 minutes that they've dictated to you through their office layout, and 7 minutes to yourself. Okay. We acknowledge that. But we also acknowledge that those 8 minutes are a nice little walk that can help you clear your head, get a little exercise, get the blood flowing, get away from the desk. Okay. So, knowing that, is there anything else about your breaks that feel bad?
Well, it's just that we get we get basically 30 minutes of break time total. So if you have to go to the bathroom throughout the day, you have to cut into your break time. So it's also a little bit less so you have to kind of calculate how many minutes you have per day so you can cut the 15-minute break short if you need to leave your desk for whatever reason. So
Okay, so go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And do you drink anything at your desk during the day?
Yeah, I drink a lot of water.
A lot of water. Okay. And that cuts into your break time.
Yeah.
And then we drink water, gotta go to the bathroom. Simple, biology. So is it worth it to drink that water? Does that bring you more pleasure and well-being for the water than it does the extra break time? Would you rather have the water at your desk, or would you rather have the extra break time? Because that's your choice.
Probably, I'm okay with the water.
The water. Yeah, well, it's healthy and it feels good. It keeps your, energy flowing, and you're going to be off a little more fluidly after the restroom. That's okay. So does it feel better to recognize the power was in your hands the whole time? Water or break time.
Yeah.
Good. So is there anything else about your breaks that feel bad?
No, that's it.
So all we've done here, Michaila, is look at your upsets with your work and get clear on them. And realize that you had the power all along. Your employer cannot take your power from you. This is why people hate the rich. Because they feel like they're taking their power, because the rich people have power. And the rich people aren't, giving their power away. And the poor people don't feel like they have power at all. But all you need to do is realize you have power. Okay. And do you get a 30-minute lunch or anything like that?
Yeah, 30-minute lunch.
Okay, is that enough time for you to eat your food?
Yeah.
Okay, so that you're satisfied with your 30-minute lunch. That's enough. You can, handle that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's not long enough, but yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I have plenty of time.
Okay. And you've got a 45-minute drive each way. That's 90 minutes or an hour and a half of driving.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do on that drive? You listen to music, or you got a podcast you like to listen to, or you read books on tape, or?
Well, lately since I did ACP, I've been watching TFS classes on the drive, which is
Mm.
nice. Actually,
Listening to, I hope, not watching.
Listening to, yeah.
Okay, so you're listening to TFAS on the drive, and that's helping you enjoy that.
Yeah. And
So,
then when I'm leaving, I do music. Yeah.
so I'm sorry. What was that? What did you just say about music?
Sometimes I need to take a break,
Mm.
and I'm a major, so I'll listen to music.
Okay, so you're actually utilizing that time very well for your own personal and spiritual development. So TFAS classes are 90 minutes. Every day of work is an entire TFAS class that you get to listen to on the way there and on the way back. Mm-hmm. And how are you enjoying that?
I like that. That's probably my favorite part of the whole work day.
Okay, that's great. Is the drive.
Yeah.
Good. So your 45-minute drive, which you've been complaining about, is something you actually enjoy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once again, I apologize for my camera work. I'm just realizing how inept I am with the camera compared to my professionally trained twin flame.
Put the camera on you.
I get that, Shalia. It's not as smooth as you. Should the other room. Anywho, I guess I can just click my face and it goes back to Michaila. That makes it a little easier. So the drive is actually something you enjoy, Michaila.
Yeah, I like it, yeah.
Okay, but you were bitching about it before, quietly.
That's true.
Okay, so is the truth that you don't like it, or is the truth that you like it?
I like it.
Okay. So all we're doing is getting clear on what you do and don't like, and where you do and do not have power, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there anything else that makes you not want to go to work?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay, but you dedicated your life to this job.
Yeah.
Does that feel bad to you or feel good?
Well, when I was looking at it, I was dedicating my life to that company, that felt bad. But now that you've put it in perspective that I'm working for myself and my progress in life, it feels good.
That's the truth. So you've dedicated your life to yourself by dedicating it to this job. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So now you can feel really good about putting 45 hours in a week.
Yeah.
So let's talk about an extra. Okay, so hold on. $11.25 an hour, extra 5 hours a week. So if you could put in an extra hour a day for an extra $225 a month cash, would that work for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're showing to work for 9 hours. Okay. So that's the challenge. Is first what we're going to do, make sure you just show up for 40 hours a week, period. And then the next level, and a lot of people will see that money and they'll see that hour, they'll be like, I can do it, and you'll do it great for 2 weeks, and then you hate it so much you'll go down to 35 hours a week. And that's not what we're going to do. It's not what I'm going to recommend. Slow and easy. What I'm going to recommend is you make sure every single day you show up on time. So this whole I drive for 45 minutes and it's hard to get to work on time because it's a far drive is bullshit, right? It's just that you didn't want to go to work.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And we all feed ourselves this own line of shit, and it burns us. It burns us, but it doesn't have to. Okay, cool. So, and an extra $225 a month would be pretty sick for you.
Yeah, it would be.
So that's our first goal, is to ensure that you make the $900 extra a month instead of zero for just showing up. And once you have that handled, 1 hour a day equals $225 for every extra hour you're able to work sustainably. 2 hours a day is $500 beyond your $900. So now you got $1,400 a month. Man, that's like a house payment.
Yeah.
Shit. If you did that for 2 years and you saved every penny, you could buy your own house and make house payments. And I guarantee you, if you were working 2 hours a day extra, you're at work 10 hours a day. And I'm not saying that we're going to do that today or this month or this year. But if you were able to do that, you wouldn't be getting $11.25 an hour. You'd be having your manager's job. People at work would be like, she can do it. This chick's crazy. Let's promote her. Let's see if we can get more from her. And you're like, I'm able to give more to myself when they promote you. They're like, I'm going to screw you for more because you're able to be screwed for more. And you're like, I'm going to be promoted so that I can do more for myself. I am able and willing to give more to myself. I can take on more responsibility at work because I've proven I can show up every day and work. Now, it doesn't sound like the problem is your capacity to work. While you're at work, you're doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all you need to do is show up so that you can do a good job the whole time. Cool. So we've just made you $900 a month. You've gotten clear on how much you spend a month. And you weren't looking at any of your finances before this?
I mean, I was aware of them, but not like this, not in detail. I was kind of avoiding them.
Mm-hmm. And how good did it feel to avoid your finances?
It felt really bad.
Mm-hmm. So all I did with Michaila was write down all of her expenses. This much, this. Go back to your bank account, pull out your receipts, look in your checkbook, whatever you do to, have a log of your financial transactions. If you're not, start logging them. Pile up your receipts. Write down if you're using cash. I spent this much, and it takes discipline. I recommend using a bank account because it's all online. It's a computer. It's very simple. We don't have to be as, archaic as our parents who would write every transaction in the checkbook to balance their checkbook. Our bank accounts online do it for us with a credit card. Boom, boom, done. I don't track any of my shit because I just use a credit card. And then I pay it off. Or you can use your debit card, and then there's a line. There's tons of apps out there that will track your money for you. I use mint.com. It tracks all my expenditures. I really don't use it as much anymore. I have an accountant now. But for a long time I used that to help me keep track. I'm not sure if it's the best one, just the one I had used for the last 10 years. Okay. So all we did was create. I'm just going to do a recap here. Here's what we did. 1, we found out how much money Michaila makes per month. 2, we found out how much money Michaila spends per month. 3, we balanced those out by subtracting the amount she spends from the amount she makes. I'm going to say that again because that's math. We took how much she makes and we subtracted how much she spends. She makes this much, she spends this much, and it leaves us with this much, which was a whopping $4 and some, 61 cents per month extra. Now, Michaila, you're in a good boat because many people who don't look at their finances end up in the negative every month. Oh, I'm losing $85 every month. Knowing that is so much more powerful than not knowing that. Knowing your financial information is powerful because you can do something about it. And that's what I want to impart to you today, Michaila, and to anyone watching this. You can do something about your finances. You are not fucked. Don't get fucked. The only way you know if you're getting fucked is by looking. Oh shit. I'm getting rammed up the ass here. We're not showing up to work for 2 hours a week. That sucks. Never let that happen. Yeah. And never again let it be 37.99 hours. That's fucked.
That's terrible.
Always let it be 40.99 hours. Oh, I worked a little extra. I spent 10 extra minutes here today. I could do it. So by balancing her income and expenses, we got a number, and that's her profit or loss. She's running at a $5 profit per month. She's basically broken even. No one wants to be at break even. Everyone wants to be at profit. At profit, you can do cool shit. And you've made some actually good investments in your life. With TFAS and LPC, with your car, you're moving on up in the world. So you're doing some things pretty right here. Okay, so let's talk about you're increasing your income and beyond, and then we can start to wrap this up. So you want to go to New York, and you've already got this trip paid for or started to pay for, and you owe some money against your paycheck. You want to be able to have a fun trip to New York where you're not huddled in the Airbnb the whole time, right? Yeah, so you need money to do that, right? And so you've got a goal to show up to work as much as possible to pay for the trip. And you have a means to pay for it by going to work.
Yeah.
That's great. So this is a great time for you to exercise your ability to put this information into practice, make some extra money, and have a bunch of spending money to go to New York with, so you can go to the Broadway show, you can go to the fancy dinner, you can have a nice time with your friends, you can have good food, you can go out and be free, you can take taxis, you can do whatever you need, wherever you need it, however you need it, because you've taken care of yourself beforehand. Okay, and what days do you get paid?
I get paid bi-weekly, so I'm going to actually get paid on the 28th, which is the day before I leave.
28th, the day before you leave. And for what period of work time are you paid?
For that 2 weeks, and then my bonus is actually like 2 weeks behind.
Okay.
So the bonus, comes late.
Okay.
But that 2 weeks, yeah.
So basically you need to work your tail off between now and then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to actually look at these figures. It doesn't matter. All you can do is work your tail off right now.
Yeah.
Good. And you might be able to work a deal with grandma if you can show her, I've got this much money coming on the next paycheck. I will give it to you plus $20 as appreciation if you can front me a little money for my trip, and I can give you that from this paycheck because I've worked really hard and the money's already in. It's guaranteed. Would that be a possibility with grandma? She'd give you a few $100s to help you out if you've already worked for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Her and then my sister's going to give me a little money because I've lent her money, and then also like Christmas, and I'll be okay, but definitely going to work really hard.
Good. So now's your opportunity to work really hard and start to grow your income and your finances and your wealth, because it feels bad to not have money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it probably feels good to be me driving around my Corvette getting Tim Hortons just because I want to. Waking up in my, multi-$1,000 bed with the nice sheets. It feels good. No one who has money will tell you it doesn't feel good. Most people with money will tell you it doesn't make them happy. It's true. Being happy makes you happy. Mm-hmm. Having money is comforting. It builds upon that happiness. Or if you traded your life for it, you'll resent your money. But that's not what we're doing. We're investing our lives into ourselves and growing beyond this. Good. So, you are going to commit to 40 hours a week from here on forth for your job until you are promoted to another job where you will work just as hard and more, right?
Yeah.
Is there any problem in doing that? No. Okay. So that's your baseline. You know exactly what it takes to do that every single day, right?
Yeah.
And there's no reason for you to not do that?
Nope.
And it feels really good to do that. Good. Okay. So, bonus. And you can treat it as a bonus. Put in extra time. What would it require for you to put in 1 hour extra every single day at work consistently for 10 years? Basically indefinitely, right, is what I'm getting at.
Just discipline and commitment.
Okay. Do you have those things right now?
Yes.
Okay, so you could, without anything else beyond a commitment, put an extra hour in per day.
Yeah.
How would that affect your life right now if you were going to work for 9.5 hours instead of 8.5?
It would make me extra money and...
Okay, you get extra money.
Help me master all of this.
What would the cost to your life and your energy and your schedule be?
It would be minimal, not much at all.
Not much at all. So for an extra hour a day, there wouldn't be much change. 45 hours a week instead of 37.99. Okay, and I know it feels really good right now to be willing to put in more work, but we want to make sure that when you get in there in the reality of the situation that you're capable and it feels good. So an hour feels good to you in every way. That's not taking from you at all?
I mean, it feels a little much, but I want to work on making the 40 hours and then just kind of grow into that.
So that's not the question. The question is, we've got the 40 hours mastered. There's no question about that. My question is, what would it take, if anything, different than your current life right now? Is your life already set up to work an extra hour a day, or is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let's say that, Monday you go to work and you're there for an extra hour. What does that workday look like differently?
It's not much different at all.
Okay, what about your bathroom breaks? You got to take a lunch differently. You got to, take your breaks differently to manage that time. You're not going to manage your time differently at all. You're just going to work an extra hour and burn yourself out for that hour? Or how are you going to be supported in doing that?
I might maybe push my break times back a little bit or split them up and leave some extra break time and the lunchtime. Yeah, just extra break time probably.
Okay, and you're going to take your lunch at a different time too? Or can you?
I can, yeah. I'd push it back.
Okay, so that's a big difference between no change and I'd push my lunch back a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to change your breaks up and push your lunch back to split the day up evenly because now you've got an expanded day.
Yeah.
Okay, so does that feel good to you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's imagine that you've gone through that whole day and you drive home and it's an hour later now. Do you go an hour earlier or do you return an hour later, or can you split that?
Oh, I have to. What do you mean, go into work? I have a set schedule. I have to be there at 7 a.m. every day.
Okay, so you're gonna leave an hour later then.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you need to tell your bosses or your managers or your supervisor in any way that you're gonna be staying later from now on?
Yeah. I mean, I would just let them know.
Okay. So Monday morning you're going to work and you're gonna say, I'm gonna start working an extra hour every day, and it's gonna put me at 9.5 hours here. I'm gonna take different breaks and I'm gonna take a different lunch because I'm committed to this job. What do you think they're gonna say when you say that to them?
I don't know. They might give me a hard time about the breaks and lunches because they have them scheduled specifically, but otherwise I'm sure they would be happy with that.
They're gonna say, motherfucking show me.
Yeah.
Because your performance makes them look good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So they're gonna say, motherfucking show me. Mm-hmm. And now you're committed to that extra hour. So I think that that's enough, right? Do you think that you should be pushing yourself any harder than this? So we've gone up to baseline and now we're pushing ourselves. And this is what's going to make you wealthier. And once you've pushed yourself to that point, it's the same formula to push yourself beyond that. For another hour, it's adjust my break, adjust my lunch, adjust my other break, another hour. And you might be having to self-care a little better. So do you eat a good breakfast before you go?
Not usually.
Do you ever eat breakfast before you go?
No.
Do you eat? How do you get fed before lunch?
Well, I'll bring snacks throughout the day that I can go grab real quick, but no like big breakfast.
Well, I mean, like a bowl of cereal or a snack bar or Pop-Tart or something.
Yeah, like a snack bar or like an apple or something.
An apple is not a breakfast.
Mm.
If you had a decent breakfast, like a bowl of cereal before you left, or a Pop-Tart and a glass of milk, or like a breakfast sandwich, would that improve your sustainability throughout the day?
Definitely, yeah, it would.
Okay, what would it take for you to give yourself a breakfast every morning?
I would have to get up just a little earlier.
How much earlier would you have to get up?
Well, I mean, if I just got up like at 5 a.m. when I'm supposed to get up, I would have enough time because I usually kind of get up a little later.
Okay, so your alarm's set for 5 a.m., but you don't get up until later usually.
Yeah.
And you're up tossing and turning and getting low quality sleep after your alarm goes off anyway.
Yeah.
So you need to make a decision to either wake up late or to wake up early and use that time. Because if you're not using that time, why the fuck would you wake up at the time you're supposed to? Okay. So you could sleep in a little bit and just accept that you're always going to sleep in. At what percentage of the time do you actually wake up at 5 a.m.? 0 or something more than 0?
100% pretty much.
Okay, so you're lying to yourself and you're pretending like you wake up when you're supposed to, but you don't. When do you actually wake up?
Like get up out of bed or wake up.
I mean, there's like, wake up and look at your phone. I consider that awake. You're
Well,
waking up, but
I wake up at 5 a.m., but I'll snooze until like 5:30ish.
5:30 ish. When is like actually 5:30 or 5:45 or 6?
It depends. 5:30 to 5:45, depending on the day.
Okay, and then the 5:45 snooze days are the days that you're late to work.
I can make it if I rush at 5:45, but yeah. If it's later than 5:45, I will be late.
5:30 is I make it to work on time guaranteed, or I'm still a little rushed?
Oh, I'm still a little rushed at 5:30.
Okay, do you want to be rushed for your life, or do you want to set your life up so that you have a peaceful transition to work?
I would like a peaceful transition.
Okay, so what time would you need to wake up to have the latest you could wake up for a peaceful transition to work?
5 a.m.
So what are you going to do with an extra half hour to 45 minutes?
Eat breakfast.
Okay, do you want to do that, or are you just doing this because you feel bad about your bad life and you feel guilted into changing?
No, I would like to do that. It would definitely improve like the whole morning if I ate breakfast before work.
Okay, but are you going to be able to you actually wake up at 5, provide yourself a breakfast, and go to work, or is this going to fall off quickly?
I think I would be able to do it.
I would be able to do it, or it's a natural and obvious upgrade for my life that I really would like to do.
I would like to do it.
Okay, you're being very agreeable now, and it's concerning me because you were very unagreeable to start, and now you're doing everything that's going to be beneficial for you without any resistance. Why is that?
Because I really genuinely desire to improve my life. Like I don't want to live like that anymore.
Okay, that's great. This is a huge, huge jump. I'm eager to see what happens because normally when people make this much change this quickly, they can't sustain it. So I'm usually very gentle about the change, but if you can sustain this, good on you. If you really have this much drive in you to succeed for yourself, I'm not going to stop you, and I'm here to support you in that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? You're just filled with an amazing drive and passion to love yourself and live your life?
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's what you have to accept and acknowledge in order to make this level of a change. There's a lot of changes all at once. Are you willing to accept that you're powerful?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you are powerful. So you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., give yourself a decent breakfast, a bowl of cereal, and what time do you need to be in your car to comfortably drive without stress and without, pushing on the law to make it to work with many minutes to spare that you can comfortably be there, relaxed, punched in, and ready to start your workday?
Like 6 a.m.
So you need to leave by 6 a.m.? Okay. So what is your schedule going to be like for that hour? What do you got to do?
I have to take a shower and get dressed and eat and make coffee and then maybe sometimes pack my lunch if I didn't do that before.
Okay. So, which is better, do it the night before or do it in the morning?
The night before.
Okay, so you're gonna pack your lunch every night. And what do you eat for lunch?
It kind of depends. Like whatever I ate for dinner, if there's enough left over, I'll bring it. Or I'll just throw a bunch of stuff in there, like fruit and nuts and stuff like that.
Okay, so you need to provide yourself with a good lunch at work to sustain an extra hour of work.
Yeah.
And so you're going to make sure that at the end of the day, you provide yourself a good lunch for the afternoon. Otherwise, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And then you make sure in the morning, you provide yourself with a good breakfast to start your day. What do you like to eat for breakfast?
Well, I prefer like eggs and things. Like I don't really like cereal too much. So like.
Okay, so eggs.
Yeah.
So you're going to cook yourself eggs and toast and jelly or something every morning? Or eggs and what else? Every morning you're going to have eggs.
I can do that.
Well, do you like anything else for breakfast other than eggs?
But I feel like I wouldn't have a super whole lot of time to make like a big breakfast.
Well, yeah, but what are you going to make for breakfast every morning? You're going to have eggs for breakfast every morning for the next 5 years, or are you going to have a little contrast?
No, a contrast.
Or variety, excuse me, is my word here.
Yeah, variety.
Okay. So what else are you going to have for breakfast? Plan some things out right now.
Like eggs, toast. I would probably do cereal.
You just said you don't like cereal. Do you like cereal or not?
No, I don't dislike it, but I don't prefer it.
Well, we're not talking about your, highest quality continental breakfast here. We're just having, enough so that you're well supported throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like breakfast sandwiches. They're like, you get them at Costco for a big box, and they're $2.25 per sandwich, and you throw it in the microwave, and you could even eat it on the go if you wanted to. There's like breakfast burritos in the freezer section you can throw into the microwave, and they're probably like $1 a piece, and they're a good breakfast. There's lots of breakfast options. So I want you to, like a little homework for you. So you got a little piece of paper you can write stuff down on?
Yes.
Okay. Here's your homework. What we're doing for Michaila right now is planning out her support system so that she can give to a maximum level. So Michaila is supporting herself with a good breakfast, a good lunch, and it's also going to be a good dinner. And we're going to complete off her support, and we're going to make sure she's got everything on her, and then we're going to send her on her way and see what happens. Okay, so your homework, Michaila, is to research some breakfast options and have at least 4 different breakfasts that feel good to her. And you can have the same one every fucking day, but once you get bored of that, you've got 3 more that you can choose from. Can you name 4 right now?
The breakfast sandwich was a good idea. Breakfast burritos.
Mm-hmm.
Making eggs, but it's kind of hard to get myself to cook in the morning.
Yeah, if you got to be honest with yourself. If you're not going to cook in the morning, don't bother pretending like you're gonna.
Yeah, so I'd probably do frozen stuff that I can just easily cook really fast.
It takes you a couple of minutes. So you're gonna need to go to the grocery store in the frozen section and pick yourself up some stuff so you can have for breakfast. And this will dramatically improve your energy throughout the day. If you're not hungry, you're going to be doing a lot better at your job. And, could you imagine if I came to this session really hungry?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if I did my classes really hungry? Oh, I'm so hungry. Could you imagine if I wasn't, committed to being there, how terrible of a job I would do?
Yeah.
I show up every time on time. I'm there the whole time. I know it's not comparable to 8 hours a day, but, just for a little bit of a comparison. So, you're going to get your breakfast handle. This is your to-do list. You're going to have breakfast every morning. And look, be gentle with yourself. Give yourself flexibility here. If you're usually just running out the door, give yourself a breakfast burrito. Give yourself something you can put in your hand and munch on while you drive.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, and at the end of the day, if you're gonna, you put yourself together a nice lunch for the next day. And if you're not able to do that consistently, find out why and make sure that that's handled. Because well, shit, I don't have enough food for dinner left over from my lunch. So at dinner time, you're going to know whether you're going to be screwed the next day out of a good lunch. And being screwed out of a good lunch means you're screwed out of a paycheck, means you're right back here, which sucks. Yeah. Being rich means you provide for yourself moving forward. Wealthy people have looked at the whole picture and they continue to add to that whole picture. And they continue to give that to themselves, which increases their support so they can give more and increases their support. It's a dynamo of increasing in wealth and power. This is how I live. This is not an accident. I didn't just get some blessing from God and I share this work and everyone wants to pay me for it. I had to work my ass off so that anyone would even listen to this shit. I could be doing this with, whatever. Just because it's miraculous doesn't mean it's, special. It actually makes it more difficult for me to sell it and profit from sharing it because no one knows what the fuck it is. Everything has its own challenge. Every industry, every market, everything. There's no avoiding challenge. You must face it wherever you are, whatever industry you are, whatever profession. You can make enormous sums of money doing anything you're called to. And this is why we have Life Purpose class. But, this is a nice start to cleaning up some of the mishaps. Getting into the specifics is nice. Okay. So we're going to give ourselves a good breakfast. We're going to give ourselves a good lunch. And in order to do the lunch, you're going to have to give yourself a good dinner every night too, right? Mm-hmm. Who makes dinner?
My grandma.
Grandma makes dinner every single night?
Yeah.
And there's enough left over every single time for you to have lunch?
Usually.
When is there not enough left over? And what percentage of the time?
Maybe less than 50% of the time.
Okay, so about half the time, not enough left over, so you don't get a good lunch.
Yeah. How
can you help Grandma to provide you with enough so that there's leftover for lunch for you?
I could help her make dinner.
And so if you added an extra dish, then there would be enough food for you to have at lunch every time?
Yeah.
So what would it take for you to have an extra dish at dinner every night with Grandma?
Make her buy groceries.
So you go with her to buy groceries?
Yeah.
Okay. What would that take for you to do that? Every week she goes grocery shopping?
I go with her a lot, usually. Just tag along. Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, so you're going to have to go with Grandma grocery shopping now. What days does she do that?
Usually on Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay, so either today or tomorrow you're going to go grocery shopping with Grandma and ensure there's enough extra so that you can have dinner that's abundant enough that you've got lunch provided every day. Because you're working an extra hour, you're going to need a good lunch.
Yeah.
And if you got that extra lunch and the extra dinner and the extra breakfast, well, the 2 hours is not that far away from you. And that's $500 on top of the $900 we already cleared. And you're in alignment for a promotion now. So all those dollars looking at going up. And all you had to do was invest in yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. How does all this feel to you?
It feels good. Like a challenge. I feel a little bit overwhelmed. I think like the extra hour a day is kind of intimidating to me, but I know I can do it.
Remember that that's a challenge and that's the bonus.
Yeah.
And right now you're providing your foundation to be able to develop that bonus. The extra $250 a month. Heck, that you can do a lot with that. 1 hour a day. But that's the bonus. So were we committed to the first 1 hour bonus or were we not?
I'm committed to that.
Okay, so and you're saying you're feeling overwhelmed by it? Why?
Well, if I had to do it like to start like this next week, just doing a whole extra hour, that would be a little overwhelming. But to definitely commit to the 40 hours a week now and master that, and then do it that way.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Now we're realizing in order to master that, we need to support ourselves fully.
Yeah,
And you're realizing to support yourself fully is quite a challenge for you.
yeah,
Okay, so it's not just show up to work because you got to be supported in showing up to work. Everyone wants to go work 5,000 hours a week
yeah,
because they make the money, but no one realizes who commits like that there's real support that's required beneath you in order to master this. So it means making dinner every night with grandma. It means going shopping with grandma on the weekends.
yeah,
And that's extra work, that's extra commitment. It also means breakfast in the mornings. It means waking up a half hour earlier. It without the alarm bullshit.
yeah,
It means providing yourself a good lunch the night before. So you're going to feel very supported in doing this, aren't you?
yeah,
Yeah. So, okay. So all we're going to commit to here is providing the support for 10 hours a day, 10 and a half, but committing to 8.5 hours a day. How's that sound to you?
sounds good to me.
Okay. And after you've got that mastered, maybe you've spent 3-4 weeks doing this, then you can transition to talking to your boss and committing to 45 hours a week. How does all this feel to you?
Feels good.
Good. So do you have any questions at this time?
I don't have any questions. No.
Okay. Do you have any insights that you'd like to share with anyone who may be watching this from your perspective, what you've just learned and gone through, and how you've been living your life?
Just that it really sucks to just be stuck in that place where you just hate your job and you don't really feel very passionate about your life. And to just really commit to mastering it. Like the only way out is through. Don't like believe the lie or fear. Choose love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so how do you feel now about all this new information and this new choice that you've made to master your job, your career, and handle your finances?
I feel really good about it.
Good. Good. So are you going to tell Grandma about these new changes that you're making and partner with her?
Yeah.
And Grandma is going to, support you in this by helping with the, open up her kitchen so that you can make dinner too?
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
yeah, do you think she'll be happy about these new changes and supporting, you being willing to support yourself at a new level?
Yeah, she'll be happy.
That's good. Well, your grandma loves you.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, and I love you too.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Yeah.
Super emotional, but
Yeah.
it's really good.
Well, it's just a little bit of information and a few new choices that change your life dramatically. And we all have these where we can look and say, I can invest this here now, and that allows me to do this. And that expands my life. And your reality is pointing to you, hey, this is not good. So a change needs to be made.
It does.
So I'm going to review what we've done, and then we can have a short dialogue, and then we can, if it feels good, conclude the call. Okay. So the first lesson was don't get fucked. And it means avoid these stinky little places that allow you to be lazy in society, but fucking burn you. Michaila's job let her be lazy, but fucking burned her. And it was only a little bit of laziness they allowed for a huge expense. Not good for Michaila. Very good for the company. Very bad for you. Check cashing is one. Amassing a shitload of credit card debt is usually another, depending on how you used it. These can be tools if used properly, like I shared with you with my 0% APR credit card. But they're very dangerous tools to use. And I don't recommend using these tools unless you really, really know what you're doing. I have a business degree. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been focusing on this my entire life. I'm cool with using a 0% APR credit card. I've got more than enough money in the bank to pay everything off. I've got more than enough money if shit goes wrong and I got to pay the extra. And I've got more than, like, my financial systems have proven enough that the bank's going to take the money out on time and I'm not going to get fucked. And I know I can call the credit card company and negotiate pretty well. So I feel very safe using a tool like that. For most of us, I don't recommend it. So if you're using these extra tools in society and you're getting burned by them again and again and again, remember the lesson. Don't get fucked. This is what keeps poor people very poor. Lottery, stuff like that. They're lies that cost you a lot of money. Lies that cost you real wealth. Don't get burned by them. The next thing we did was we looked at our income and her expenses, and we identified a massive differential in her income because of her unwillingness to show up to work all the time. So we looked at income, we looked at expenses, we found her balance. I recommend you do this, and I recommend you keep a running balance of this. In Michaila's circumstance, it sounds like she doesn't really spend any extra money. She had spent some extra on clothes, but if she has a clear budget that she sticks to every month, if you have a clear budget that you stick to every month, you're going to feel a whole lot better of your finances. Because you can see this comes out here, that comes in here, and I know that here I will have this much so I can make this decision forward. I can make financial decisions which will be happening weeks or months or years down the road that make sense to me because I've budgeted, I've planned, I know what's going to happen. Just basic, everyday tools. Budgeting, simple. We didn't do a whole lot of that with Michaila. We just looked at income and expenses, and most of it was helping her with her income. So we found the problem, and the problem was she wasn't showing up to work on time because she hates her job. And we resolved the problem to help her realize that it's not the job that she's hating on, but her own self, and that she's decided instead to love herself here and support herself here. And she's setting herself up to work 10 hours a day, 10 and a half hours a day, which would mean an extra $500 a month cash in her fucking pocket. Few people have that kind of disposable income. You're on your way to being rich. You could take all that money and save it for 2 years and buy yourself a fucking house. That is cool. Grandma's going to think you're cool. You're going to think you're cool. Your sister's going to think you're cool. Everybody's going to think you're cool. And so is your boss, and he or she is going to promote you. So you're not only working towards more money, someone working 10 hours every day consistently, showing up with 3 square meals a day and some snacks, also a recommendation. Bring those snacks too. Provide for yourself. And you will be able to provide for the company, who will then in turn provide for you a promotion which involves a raise, which is going to require you to support yourself even better because it's going to be more responsibility, which means maybe more stress, but definitely a greater challenge to overcome, which you already get the formula. Support yourself, overcome the challenge, and grow through it. Arise to another challenge, support yourself through that. And on it goes. And you'd be CEO of this company if you worked at it like this for the next 10, 15 years. They like a strong work ethic. Everyone in the business world loves a strong work ethic. And to have a strong work ethic, you got to show up. And the only way you can show up with a strong work ethic is by feeling good about what you're doing. And if you realize you're doing it for yourself and not for, Joe Blow who's fucking you over and screwing you out of all your life and runs a shitty-ass company that everyone hates, you're going to feel a lot better. Because you ain't working for the man. You're working for number one, yourself. So this is going to lead you to having more than enough money for your trip, right, Michaila?
Yeah.
And this allows you to look at your money and budget for your trip.
Yes.
And so you can look at your trip and budget out your trip and find out, I actually won't have enough money, and I can ask for a loan, or I can make some arrangements, and I can show that my work is going to be this way, and I can show those people who I'm making arrangements with, I'm going to make at least this much money because I'm going to work like this, and you will be paid, and maybe I can incentivize that with appreciative extra on top of it. Good. So this handles your New York trip. This handles your shitty career that's now turned into a delightful one. And it fills your life with purpose. And handles your finances essentially completely. How do you feel?
Like really good. I'm upheaving now. But I feel like a big change. Like, yeah, I made a new choice and it feels good.
So now that you're upheaving, you're going to find that the old choice to live like the old way is still available to you, to sleep in, to not do breakfast, to skip out on grocery shopping with grandma, to show up late, all the shit that we cleared out. All that's going to still be there vibrationally, and it's leaving. This was what upheaval is. And your sole responsibility is to remain with the vibration of the new choice and to doggedly commit to it and to do whatever you can to make it work and to find out if it doesn't feel good, where and why. And it's not because of the upheaval, but because there's this other challenge that needs to be resolved. I didn't give you every single little detail for your life. You're going to have to work all that out. But I gave you a lot of the meta, overarching things that are going to help you. And your life has to change in order to change your finances. You have to change in order to change your finances. But in so doing, you're going to feel much better overall. You're going to have much more money overall. And you're going to start to put back money in the bank and have a nest egg for, hey, if this other trip comes, I got money for it. If I want to do this thing, I got money for it. If I want to get a birthday present for my sister, I got money for it. If I want to go to the spa with my grandma, I got money for it. It feels good to know that you got a lump of change in the bank. That's power. You can do what you want with it. Don't need to do anything now. It's just going to sit there. That's nice. Good. So any other thoughts or questions or comments or concerns at this time?
I just wanted to say that it definitely helps to really look at your finances, because just avoiding it, all of this seems so confusing. It was just a big mess to me before. So it's really nice to have clarity and a goal and not just avoid the issue.
Yeah. How does that goal make you feel?
It feels really good.
Does it energize and ignite you?
Yeah.
Does it motivate and inspire you?
It does, yeah.
Does it fill you with life?
It does.
Does it help direct you when you encounter inevitable challenges and resistance to your goal?
Yes.
Good. Is it going to wake you up in the morning?
Yeah.
Is it going to get you to bed on time at night?
Yep.
Is it going to get you to make yourself breakfast in the morning?
Yes.
And get yourself a good dinner with grandma and consequently provide yourself a nice lunch? Beautiful. Anything else at this time, Michaila?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me, Michaila, and thank you all for joining us in this very intimate financial workshop. Take care. We'll see you in more stuff. Thanks, Michaila.
Bye.
Bye-bye.